You are watching QTV Experience Home. Time now for the news. Here are the headlines. FIFA has banned Zambian football icon Kalusha Bwalia for 2 years from all football-related activities at both national and international level. 3 people died on the spot while 11 others were injured in a road traffic accident that happened yesterday on Thursday in Kapiriposhi. Here now is the news in detail. World Soccer governing body FIFA has banned Zambian football icon Kalusha Bwalia for 2 years from all football-related activities at both national and international level. The FIFA Adjudicatory Chamber of the Independent Ethics Committee banned Kalusha, a member of the Executive Committee of the Confederation of African Football (CAF), for 2 years after concluding its investigations. A statement from FIFA read, in part, the investigation against Mr. Bwalia was opened on 28 February 2017 and focused principally on benefits that Mr. Bwalia had received from Mr. Bin Haman. The Adjudicatory Chamber found Mr. Bwalia guilty of having violated Article 16 and Article 20 of the FIFA Code of Ethics. The decision was notified to Mr. Bwalia today, and the ban comes into force immediately. But Mr. Bwalia has expressed surprise in a tweet. Mr. Bwalia says he is saddened by the decision taken by the FIFA Ethics Committee adjudication. He says he has, however, instructed his legal team to appeal against the decision urgently, stating that he is not guilty of the offense. 3 people died on the spot while 11 others were injured in a road traffic accident that happened yesterday on Thursday in Kapiriposhi district. Zambia police spokesperson Esther Mwata Katongo has confirmed to QTV News that the accident happened at Kashitu on the Ndola Highway. Ms. Katongo says the accident was as a result of excessive speeding of a Nissan Vanette driven by Robert Kafunda, aged 40 years. She says the driver had 14 passengers on board. Ms. Katongo says the vehicle was moving from north to south when he lost control and overturned several times off the road. She says the deceased have been identified as Given Nayame, 31, of Kamuchanga compound in Kitwe, Juliet Mutambo, 43, of Kalengwa in Kalulushi, and Esther Precious Simushi, aged between 4 to 5 months. Ms. Katongo says the bodies of the deceased have since been deposited in the Kapiriposhi District Hospital mortuary, and the injured have also been admitted at the same hospital. And Ms. Katongo has disclosed that a body of a female adult aged between 15 and 18 years was yesterday on Thursday found in an unfinished building in Kanyama compound of Lusaka. She says this is in what is suspected to be a case of murder. Zambia and South Africa have signed a memorandum of understanding to establish a bi-national commission to be headed by the heads of state for the two countries. The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding has elevated Zambia and South Africa's recently signed Joint Commission of Cooperation (JCC) to binational level (BNC). The agreement for the framework, which has given Zambia its first ever binational commission, was signed by Minister of Foreign Affairs Joe Malanji and Lindiwe Sisulu, Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, and witnessed by the two heads of state, President Edgar Lungu of Zambia and President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa. A Joint Permanent Commission (JPC) or Joint Commission of Cooperation (JCC) is chaired by foreign or defense ministries, two cooperating states, while a binational committee is chaired by the two heads of state for the two cooperating countries. The two parties are now planning for the inaugural meeting by the end of the year to help resolve outstanding bilateral issues related to trade, investment and exports, immigration, legal and other issues. Meanwhile, government has reaffirmed its commitment to supporting investment in growth sectors in a bid to promote economic development and poverty alleviation. Vice President Inongawina has emphasized that government is resolved to encourage investment in various sectors so as to create employment and spur economic development. Speaking during the launch of the Central Province Forum and Expo dubbed Accelerating Investment for Inclusive and Sustainable Development, Ms. Wina said government is aware of the many resources that have remained untapped in various provinces. And Mrs. Wina has expressed confidence that the hosting of the Forum Expo will link the Central Province to the global world and thereby promote the investments. Speaking at the same event, United Nations Resident Coordinator Janet Rogan also observed that Central Province has a geographical advantage and potential to grow economically. Meanwhile, Central Province Minister Sidney Mushanga says there is no doubt that the province is poised to become the hub of development. Mr. Mushanga says he wants to see economic growth and more employment created through this investment. The ruling PF has described as unfounded hallucinations assertions it bought off opposition candidates who failed to file nominations for the September by-elections. Media Director Sandy Chanda says such assertions are coming from desperate political parties that have no sense of direction. Mr. Chanda notes that it is not true, for example, that the ruling PF is behind the disappearance of the opposition UPND candidate for the Kasenengwa parliamentary by-election, Faustin Banda. In an interview with QTV News, Mr. Chanda states that the claim by opposition NDC that the ruling PF adopted its preferred candidate for the Kasenengwa by-election also makes sad reading. Mr. Chanda says the ruling party does not expect to have clowns in the political space in the manner the opposition NDC is portraying itself by making such claims. He says the truth of the matter is that the ruling PF had 17 candidates that applied for the adoption. Among them, the Central Committee settled for Sensho Banda.
Those allegations are unfounded and coming from very desperate opposition political parties that have no sense of direction whatsoever. The Patriotic Front has nothing to do with the disappearance of the UPND candidate in the case of Kasenengwa. And again, the hallucinations coming from the NDC that the candidate we've adopted was in fact theirs makes very, very sad reading, you know, in the sense that we expect not to have clowns in the political space. But if you can have clowns in the sense of the UPN, in the sense of the UPND, the NDC, then there's a problem. The candidate that we have adopted was among the 17 candidates that applied for the Patriotic Front seat for Kasenengwa, and he's been a bona fide member of the Patriotic Front.
The opposition UPND has reported its Kasenengwa parliamentary by-election candidate Faustin Banda to the police for obtaining money and election materials by false pretenses. UPND chairman for elections Gary Nkombo has told journalists after lodging a complaint at Central Police that the UPND suspects Dr. Banda connived with some people to remove the party from the ballot box when he failed to turn up for the filing of nominations. Yesterday on Thursday, Mr. Nkombo, who is also Mazabuka Central Member of Parliament, stated that Dr. Banda should therefore account for his behavior, which has defranchised the UPND. He says his party is satisfied that Dr. Banda's actions amounts to an act of criminality to which he should be answerable to. He says as a result of Dr. Banda's action, the UPND has not only lost time to reorganize, but also the opportunity to take part in the Kasenengwa by-election. Meanwhile, development activist Canisius Banda has described as classic chicken coming home to roost the fate that has befallen opposition UPND since the 2016 general elections. Dr. Banda says UPND leader Hakainde Hichilema is now reaping what he had sown. In an interview with QTV News, Dr. Banda, who is also former UPND Vice President for Politics, has alleged that Mr. Hichilema is paying for the number of people he allegedly deceived in the past. Dr. Banda states that, having been one of such people, he does not find it surprising that Mr. Hichilema is now being deceived by his own party members. He says he personally foresees things getting worse for Mr. Hichilema as infidelity among his own party members appears to be increasing. Dr. Banda states that, in his view, if UPND Kasenengwa candidate Faustin Banda was therefore bought as it was being alleged, he must have deliberated well so. He says credit should in this case not only go to the alleged political party that bought him, but also Dr. Banda himself.
Dr. Faustin Banda is a very educated man. He's a much-lettered man. He is not stupid. He was in the United Kingdom, serving that place with his competences and skills. And we lured him back. I was one of those people that was in conversation with him from there. Encouraged him, courted him to come and stand for the UPND in Kasinengwa constituency. And he came and he stood. He is a don of the prestigious University of Zambia. If it is alleged that he was bought, don't give all the credit to the PF. Give some of it to him. If he was bought, as it is being alleged, then deliberately he was willing to sell. So what should worry Hichilema and his group in the UPND is that why should such an educated man, a lettered man, such a man of dignity behave in such a manner? And there are many within the UPND there that are not loyal to Hichilema anymore. They have seen that the king has no political or leadership clothes after all.
The National Pension Scheme Authority, NAPSA, has partnered with 5 associations and unions in efforts aimed at addressing social security concerns among workers in the informal sector. In this partnership, NAPSA seeks to extend social security coverage to the people in informal sector as a way of avoiding the poverty that would befall them once out of employment. Speaking during the signing ceremony with the 5 associations and unions, NAPSA Director General Yola Kachinda observed that for too long, provision of social security has been so much focused on workers in informal employment, leaving out those in non-formal sectors. Mr. Kachinda says as NAPSA advances the welfare of many vulnerable citizens, it is important that various stakeholders effectively play their role so as to ensure avoidance of poverty once and for all and for an individual or family. Mr. Kachinda adds that the initiative will improve the lives of workers in unofficial employment, who he says in most cases fall victim to social and economic shocks.
Social security is a human right, a social and economic necessity, and a stabilizer in times of crisis. Countries that have put in place extensive systems of social security have been the most successful in achieving long-term sustainable growth and poverty reduction, as they are cautioned the impacts of economic downturn on workers and their families affected by old age, death, and invalidity. NAPSA will remain committed to ensuring that social security for all becomes a reality. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as NAPSA spreads its umbrella to extend social security coverage to the informal sector, I urge the various stakeholders to wholeheartedly support this noble cause. This is an initiative that aims at improving the lives of our colleagues who are vulnerable to social and economic shocks.
And representatives of associations and unions are optimistic that the initiative will work to the betterment of their members who have for a long time been sidelined. The associations and unions have collaborated with NAPSA include the National Arts Council, the Zambia National Marketeers Credit Association, and the Bus and Taxi Drivers Association of Zambia.
This will provide and guarantee social security to all our members in the informal sector.
The social security has always been a part of the laws of Zambia, which unfortunately have been flouted with impunity since it was enacted by Parliament, by those that provide the means of labor in the public passenger transport sector.
In today's world, we are aware of the tremendous importance of ensuring social security of the country populace, which is quite cardinal. A hungry people are unhungry people, or angry, so to say. As development takes place and takes effect, some people will inevitably be left behind. Among the worst hit in the country are the people in the formal economy. The scenario in Zambia is not different from other sectors.
Minister of Housing and Infrastructure Development, Ronald Chitotela, says government has received some negative reports that some contractors are not abiding by the 20% subcontracting for local contractors in all construction works by foreign contractors. Speaking at the National Council for Construction 9th graduation ceremony, Mr. Chitotela said the policy pronouncement has been made on the backdrop of the need to increase benefits for the Zambian economy out of the investments. Government is pursuing various options of making the policy pronouncement enforceable, as it is currently consulting on how best it can ensure that the policy decision is complied with. He added that government will continue to improve local contractors' skills, knowledge and special competences for them to effectively and efficiently partner with foreign contractors. Mr. Chitotela states that government will therefore not take kindly anybody who shall abrogate the provision of the law. He has, however, urged local contractors to ensure that they are above board in relation to performance and delivering of quality work.
Therefore, let me again emphasize to you, the Director, NCC and your board and the board members, that we must enhance inspection so that we monitor and make sure that there is compliance to this policy direction. And because of a bit of reluctance to some other people, as the acting CEO for National Development Agency indicated, we are contemplating in making it a law, not just a law under the Road Development Act, but a law under Public Procurement Act, so that it compels everybody that is participating in doing business in Zambia to adhere to 20% policy, so that Zambian people benefit. On its part, and as I mentioned, government will continue to improve our local contractor skills, knowledge and special competences for them to effectively and efficiently partner with the foreign contractors, particularly on the large-scale projects.
Speaking at the same event, National Council for Construction NCC Executive Director Matthews Ngulube says the graduation ceremony is yet another milestone in the attainment of skills excellence in the construction industry in Zambia. Mr. Ngulube added that the ceremony confers skills award certificates to 333 students, out of which 239 are male, while 37 are female that have undergone training in courses at the National Council for Construction. He has stated that despite the high number of graduates, it is sad to note that there is still low participation from women, and that is why NCC intends to look for innovative ways to encourage the participation of more women in the industry over the coming years. Non-government organization Vision Ambassadors has embarked on a countrywide anti-tribalism peace campaign. National Chairperson Meshek Kombe says his organization has observed that Zambia is slowly straying away from the core values of being a peaceful country. Mr. Kombe says this is besides slowly straying away from being a country where its people consider themselves as one despite having many different tribes. He has told QTV News that Vision Ambassadors is worried that the situation in Zambia is only appearing to be calm because there is no war yet. Mr. Kombe states that what should, however, be known is that what leads to war are things like tribalism. He recalls that it is in fact tribalism that led to Rwanda into a civil war when that country experienced a genocide. Mr. Kombe says this is why his organization has said no to tribalism and is encouraging all Zambians to join in the fight against tribalism. He says Vision Ambassadors urges all people in the country to work together in building a better Zambia.
What caused Rwanda to go into war when they experienced genocide? It was because of tribalism. We say no to tribalism, and we encourage every Zambian to join into the fight of fighting tribalism. Let's work together and build a better Zambia for our children to come, for the generations to come. So we are busy working on a number of programs. Very soon we'll be having a fundraising dinner, which is aimed at raising funds, where we can send people all over our nation to go and educate our people about the importance of peace. We will be having door-to-door campaigns, we'll be having conferences, and many other programs. And all these are aimed at making sure that our people get to appreciate the One Zambia, One Nation notion.
The opposition UPND has added its voice in condemning the manner in which government deported Zimbabwean opposition leader Tendai Biti. UPND President Hakainde Hichilema says his party also invites all democratic forces in the international community to condemn the decision by the Zambian government. Mr. Hichilema states that his party finds government's decision to be saddening and shocking. In a statement to QTV News, Mr. Hichilema says his party thinks that the Zambian government should have given Mr. Biti a hearing while engaging his pursuers in Zimbabwe. Mr. Hichilema says this would have been in keeping with international law, as it was already known that Mr. Biti was seeking asylum. He states that the manner in which Mr. Biti was, however, hounded out of Zambia has only further reduced the image of the country as a sanctuary of people fleeing from conflict. Mr. Hichilema says the UPND therefore commends the United Nations and the US government over the stance taken with regard to the deportation of the Zimbabwean opposition leader. And Transparency International Zambia TIZ is saddened by the inconsistencies being exhibited by Zambia in handling diplomatic issues. TIZ President Ruben Lifuka says the manner in which Zambia is handling diplomatic issues raises questions about its foreign policy. Mr. Lifuka says he finds it shameful that a country that was well known to be a linchpin in the liberation struggle can today become what he has termed as a pale shadow of itself. He has based his lamentation on the recent deportation of Zimbabwean opposition leader Tendai Biti, who had fled to Zambia to seek asylum. Mr. Lifuka says the concern of his organization is that the Zambian government decided to deport Mr. Biti in disregard of a court order. In a statement to Q News, Mr. Lifuka has wondered why government had to hand him back to Zimbabwean authorities when there was an option to allow him seek asylum elsewhere. The Pharmaceutical Society of Zambia has discouraged women from using the contraceptive pill sold in most Chinese clinics, commonly known as the Chinese pill. Society media chairperson Daniel Kabani has told QTV News that the Chinese pill is currently an illegal pill as it does not come into the country through the illegal channels. Mr. Kabani says society has also reported that most women have had serious side effects due to the use of the pill, which is hard to manage once they kick in. He says it has also been difficult to ascertain what the pill contains due to the foreign language written on it.
As a society, we are disrecommending the use of the Chinese pill by our people as a contraceptive. This is because the Chinese pill is an illegal pill. It has not come in our country through the right channels, which are through ZAMRA, which is a regulatory body that actually regulates the use of medicines in Zambia. And ZAMRA is on the ground working very hard to ensure that they protect the society, our nation, from the use of this medicine. But even us as the professional body where all pharmacists ascribe to here in Zambia, would want the people to know that we disrecommend the use of this medicine because it is illegal and is unsafe. Most of our professionals have reported that in the different areas in which they are practicing, members of the community that come to them telling them of their experience with this pill have highlighted that it has a number of serious side effects. And the challenge is that these side effects, when they kick in, are very hard to manage because no one really knows what this pill contains.
The United Prosperous and Peaceful Zambia UPPZ has adopted Abel Ngwenya as its candidate for the Kasanengwa parliamentary by-elections, which are scheduled for the 60th September 2018. Speaking in an interview with QTV News, UPPZ spokesperson Francis Kope has confirmed that Mr. Ngwenya had since successfully filed in his nominations on Thursday to contest the by-election. Mr. Kope is confident that the UPPZ will scoop the Kasanengwa by-elections because it has a manifesto that is appealing to the youths, the women and the elderly. He says his party, however, expects to see issue-based campaign elections devoid of violence.
Of course, we expect issue-based campaigns. We don't expect any violence. We don't expect vote buying. We know that our colleagues are quite good when it comes to vote buying. They had approached our candidate to buy him off so that he may not file in his nomination papers. But fortunately, we were ready for whatsoever was coming, and we made sure that our candidate secured his nomination, and we have already started campaigning. We are on the ground. All we expect is issue-based campaign. We don't expect violence. We don't expect these issues of going around to pay people to vote for a particular political party. I think such acts are detrimental to the political space and democratic space. So we want to see issue-based, as well as the ECZ should also come to the party and see to it that they manage these elections accordingly. Of course, we expect.
The Center for Trade Policy and Development, CTPD, has appealed to government to prioritize the provision and inclusion of agriculture extension services, AES, in the 2019 national budget. CTPD is urging government to fix the broken down agriculture extension services as a way of ensuring for improved and increased agriculture production in the country. CTPD Head of Programs and Research, Brian Chiko Mwinga, explains that agriculture extension services world over are regarded as the fuel that propels the agricultural machinery and help in the promotion of agriculture as an engine of pro-poor economic growth. Mr. Mwinga states that the role AES play in Zambia's agriculture is crucial in as far as promoting agricultural productivity, increasing food security, increasing income, and contributing to the improvement of lives of the poor people, most of who are found in the rural areas. He has, however, stated that government has not done well in enhancing the provision of agriculture extension services across the country, despite investing heavily in the FISP as a way of enhancing small-scale farmers' productivity. Mr. Mwinga is of the considered view that the use of hybrid seed varieties and chemical fertilizers provided under the FISP initiative alone will not yield any meaningful positive results if the recipients do not have access to proper production methods provided through an elaborate and modern AES. He has since noted that the framing methods being employed are outdated and require urgent attention in the fast-changing technological era, as the country cannot afford to continue employing old and failed agricultural practices at a time when small-scale farmers are supposed to be embracing new and sophisticated ways of agricultural production methods. That item concludes our news at this hour. Thank you so much for being with us. But before I take a run, here is a recap of stories in the headlines. FIFA has banned Zambian football icon Kalusha Walia for 2 years from all football-related activities at both national and international level. 3 people died on the spot while 11 others were injured in a road traffic accident that happened yesterday on Thursday in Kapirimposhi. Ends the news. Thank you so much. Once again, bye-bye, and continue watching QTV Experience Home.